The planet of Varen's hope burned under the harsh light of two suns. Smoke rose in thick clouds from the shattered city centers, and the air was heavy with dust and the smell of burning metal. The colony had grown over decades, a mix of alien species who had come to build a new life far from their homeworlds. Now it was under siege by the Draxan Dominion, a cruel empire that had no mercy for anyone who could not fight back. In one of the last standing buildings, Lyra, a young alien doctor, worked quietly. Her skin had the pale green hue of her people, and her hands moved with careful speed as she tried to patch the wounds of children and soldiers alike. The lights flickered above her, and a nearby wall crumbled with the sound of distant explosions. She did not flinch. Every life mattered, and she had promised herself that she would not give up. Outside, the sky was filled with the roar of Draxan ships. Their blackened hulls reflected the light of the twin suns as they rained fire on the colony. Every few seconds, the building shook, and Lyra had to catch herself from falling. She looked at the injured lying on stretchers, their eyes wide with fear. She whispered to herself that she could not let this be the end for them. In the council bunker beneath the surface, Charon, an older alien leader with silver streaks in his hair, was speaking to a group of worried officials. They were gathered around a holographic map of their world. Red dots moved across it, showing the advance of the Draxan forces. Tension hung in the air like smoke. "We cannot last much longer," Charon said. His voice was calm, but there was a hint of desperation. "Our allies have abandoned us. Everyone who promised aid has turned away. We have days, maybe hours, before the Draxan reach the heart of our city." A young technician, Talon, shifted nervously. He was not a council member, just a junior tech, but he had discovered something. A wideband call to anyone in the galaxy. There is one planet, Earth. They are new to the stars, but maybe they will answer. A harsh laugh cut through the room. "Earth?" one council member said, shaking her head. "They are a small race. They barely have colonies beyond their own system. Do you really think they can help?" Talon swallowed hard but did not back down. "We do not have many options. We are almost out of time. If someone hears us, even a small ship, it could make a difference." Charon studied Talon carefully. He could see the fear in the young alien's eyes, but he could also see determination. "Very well," Charon said at last. "Send the message. We will hope for the best, but do not expect miracles. We prepare for the worst." The signal left the planet in a pulse of light and energy. It carried the voice of Lyra and Talon's technical help, giving coordinates and the story of the colony's plight. They spoke of wounded civilians, of broken defenses, and of their hope that someone, anyone, would come. They did not know if anyone would listen, and part of them expected that their message would fade into the emptiness of space. In the council bunker, Lyra and Charon watched the horizon through reinforced windows. The sky was a mix of smoke and fire, with the black silhouettes of Draxan ships cutting through the red light. Lyra turned to Charon. "If anyone comes, it cannot be just a single ship," she said quietly. "We need more than that." Charon nodded slowly. "I know, but hope is all we have left." For the next few hours, they continued to fight and survive. Children were moved to hidden shelters. Civilians were guided to underground passages. Soldiers tried to hold the outer walls, though they were few in number and poorly equipped. The sound of explosions became constant, like the heartbeat of a planet in pain. Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, Jack Carter, a young officer on a human command station, noticed something unusual in the deep signal logs. It was faint, almost lost in static, but the pattern caught his attention. He replayed it several times, adjusting filters and amplifiers. Each time, he heard the same thing. A voice, alien, scared, asking for help. He brought the message to Admiral Claire Roberts. She had gray eyes that seemed to see everything at once. When she listened to the recording, she leaned back in her chair and let silence fill the room. The voice of Lyra, though distant, carried fear and hope at the same time. The coordinates led to a remote system, far beyond most human activity. "This is serious," Jack said. "They are surrounded. They are under attack. They are asking for help. We could send a ship, maybe a small team." Claire shook her head. "Do you hear the tone?" she said, softly. "They do not need a token ship. They are desperate. They need real help. We cannot let this go unanswered. We will not stand by and do nothing." Jack looked at her, surprised. "Are you sure, Admiral? If we commit, it could be dangerous. The Draxen are powerful. This could escalate." Claire's expression hardened. "I know the risk. But if humans hear a call for help, we answer. That is what makes us human. That is what we have always done. Prepare to alert Fleet Command. I want options ready. And Jack, do not underestimate what a determined group of humans can do when we choose to act." Over the next hours, Fleet Command buzzed with activity. Messages were sent to shipyards, engineers, and crews across Earth. Massive carriers powered up, cruisers left dry docks, and medical ships were readied. Captain Ryan Clark and Commander Olivia Hall were assigned to lead the relief task force. Civilian aid groups, led by Dr. Laura King, were also assembled to provide medical support. Back on Varen's Hope, Lyra and Talon worked through the night. Supplies were running dangerously low. Soldiers reported more Draxen reinforcements approaching. Talon checked sensors again and again, hoping for any sign that someone had heard their call. "Maybe they will not come," Talon said, voice trembling. "Maybe it is too far. Maybe we sent a message to a place that does not care." Lyra shook her head. "We cannot think like that. Even one ship, one person, could save lives. And if we are lucky, they will come with more. We have to believe in that." The next morning, Lyra walked outside to check on a temporary triage area. The ground was scorched, smoke rising from the ruins. Soldiers carried the wounded carefully, avoiding debris. The sky was still red with fire. She closed her eyes and whispered a small prayer to herself, hoping that help was on the way. In orbit above Earth, Admiral Roberts studied the situation carefully. She ordered a relief fleet not as a small response, but as a full armada. Massive carriers, battleships, and destroyers were assembled. Engineers worked around the clock to ready them for faster-than-light travel. Human crews, civilians, and medical teams trained together, preparing for the long journey to an unknown planet under siege. Claire addressed the assembled fleet with quiet authority. "This is not a show of force. This is a call to conscience. These people are asking for help. They do not know us. They have no reason to expect anything more than a single ship. We will give them our best. We will give them our fleet. Move out when ready. And remember what we are fighting for: life, hope, and the choice to help those in need." As the human fleet prepared for departure, a sense of purpose filled every corridor of every ship. Crews worked tirelessly, checking weapons, shields, and engines. Dr. Laura King reviewed medical supplies, preparing for a flood of wounded from both sides. Even junior officers like Jack Carter felt the weight of the moment. They were about to enter an unknown battle, but they did so knowing they were answering a call that could save an entire world. Meanwhile, Talon adjusted the colony's remaining communication array, hoping for a reply. He noticed a spike in the sensors, but it faded before he could read it fully. "Is that?" he began, but Lyra put a hand on his shoulder. "We do not know yet. It could be anything. We keep holding. That is all we can do." Chiron gathered the remaining council members and soldiers. "Prepare for anything. If help comes, it will be a miracle. If it does not, we fight for every moment we have left. Night fell over the colony. Fires burned, sirens wailed, and the air was thick with smoke. Yet amid the chaos, Lyra looked up at the stars and imagined a fleet of humans coming to help. She imagined ships larger than any she had seen, crewed by beings willing to risk everything to save strangers. Her heart dared to hope that they were on their way. The last thought she had before exhaustion claimed her was simple. Even in the darkest moments, someone might answer the call. And if humans were out there, far across the galaxy, they might just arrive, with more than anyone expected. The message had been sent. The humans had heard it. And somewhere, in the cold distance of space, the wheels of a fleet were beginning to turn. In the command hall above Earth, the fleet of humans prepared for a journey unlike any they had taken before. Ships lined the docks, their metal hulls gleaming under the sun. Crews moved quickly, checking engines, testing shields, and preparing weapons. Engineers ran along catwalks, shouting updates to each other. Medical teams organized supplies, ensuring that every possible injury could be treated when they arrived. Captain Ryan Clark walked among them, his boots heavy against the metal floor. He stopped at a group of engineers who were working on the Horizon Dawn, the fleet's largest carrier. "Status report," he asked. "Engines at full capacity, Captain," one of them replied. "Shields and weapon systems are ready. Faster than light drives are stable." Ryan nodded. "Good. Check everything twice. We cannot afford mistakes. Remember, we are not just sending ships, we are sending hope." Commander Olivia Hall stood nearby, reviewing star charts. Her face was calm, but focused. She looked up at Ryan. "The path to Varen's Hope is clear of known hazards, but the Draxen may have patrols in the outer systems. We need to be ready for anything." Ryan sighed. "They will be ready for anything, too. We cannot underestimate them, but we also cannot hesitate." On the bridge of the Horizon Dawn, Jack Carter adjusted the communications array. He had listened to the distress call many times, and the urgency of it still stayed with him. The fear in Lyra's voice, the hopelessness of a colony under siege, it had touched him. "Do you really think they will survive until we get there?" he asked quietly. Olivia put a hand on his shoulder. "They will. Humans don't send help lightly, and we don't send it half-heartedly. They will see our fleet coming, and that alone might give them strength to hold on." Meanwhile, Admiral Claire Roberts reviewed the final plan. She had ordered not a single ship, but a full fleet to respond. She knew the Draxen could be dangerous, and sending only a small group would have been reckless. The humans had the power to change the balance, and Claire wanted to show that when they chose to act, they acted fully. She looked at the fleet roster. Carrier ships, battleships, destroyers, medical ships, and support vessels all coordinated and ready. "Remember," she said to herself, "we are not here to fight unless we must. We are here to save lives." In the shipyards, civilians who had volunteered for aid were being trained alongside military personnel. Dr. Laura King organized the medical teams, explaining how to work with alien physiology. Her team was nervous but determined. "These people are counting on us," she said. "We may not understand everything about them, but we can help. That is what matters." Back on Varen's Hope, life continued under the shadow of the Draxen. Talon adjusted the sensors again, hoping for even the faintest sign that their message had been received. Every day brought new dangers. Supplies ran lower, walls collapsed, and more people were injured. Yet, there was still a small spark of hope. They had sent the message, and now all they could do was wait. Lyra checked on the wounded children in the underground clinic. Their eyes were wide with fear, but she tried to reassure them. "Help is coming. she said softly. I promise. Someone will come. Karen gathered his remaining soldiers. Hold the walls, he said. Protect the people. We do not know what is coming, but we must be ready for anything. On Earth, the human fleet began its journey to the distant system. Ships slipped through the space lanes, faster than light drives, carrying them across light years in days. The crews worked tirelessly, checking systems and maintaining readiness. There was an unspoken understanding among them. They were not just soldiers or engineers or doctors. They were humanity's answer to a cry for help. Jack Carter stood on the observation deck of the Horizon Dawn, looking out into the void. He imagined the colony on Varen's Hope. Small and fragile, surrounded by fire and destruction. He thought about the people who were counting on them, and he felt the weight of responsibility. We cannot fail them, he whispered. Olivia joined him. We won't, she said. Humanity has never backed down when someone needed us. We may be far away, but our will is strong. That counts for something. Axeteron ready. Axeteron ready. The fleet moved in tight formation, disciplined and precise. Each ship had a role. Carriers carried fighters and supplies. Battleships provided firepower. Destroyers protected the formation, and medical ships prepared for the wounded. It was not a small effort. It was a statement. On the way, the fleet encountered several minor threats, asteroid fields, small rogue patrols, but nothing could match their coordination. Ryan Clark led the carriers through a dense field of rocks, showing skill that impressed even veteran officers. The fleet moved as one, every ship knowing its place and purpose. Meanwhile, Claire Roberts received updates from the fleet. She listened to Jack and Olivia as they reported minor obstacles and small victories. They are holding together well, she said. Good. Keep them focused on the mission. Nothing else matters until the colony is safe. Back on Varen's Hope, Lyra and Talon worked side by side. They repaired what they could, patched wounds, and guided children to safety. Talon checked the sensors again. Still nothing, he said, frustration in his voice. No ships, no signals. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. We cannot give up, she said firmly. Even if we cannot see them yet, someone may be on the way. We have to keep trying. Chiron moved through the streets, checking on soldiers and civilians. He saw the fear in their eyes, but also a stubborn determination. Hold the line, he told them. Even if we must fight to the last, we fight together. Help may come. We cannot know, but we prepare as if it will. In the human fleet, Captain Ryan Clark held a briefing. He addressed his officers with calm authority. We are approaching the Varen system. The colony is under siege, and the Draxen are nearby. Our goal is simple. Protect the colony, neutralize threats if necessary, and avoid unnecessary destruction. We are not here to show force. We are here to save lives. The officers nodded. Each knew the risks. The Draxen were unpredictable and cruel. A small mistake could cost hundreds of lives. But they also knew the stakes. An entire colony was counting on them. Dr. Laura King prepared her team for the possibility of mass casualties. We may see injuries we have never treated before, she told her team. We may face situations that are dangerous, but we are trained. We are ready. We are here to save as many as we can. We know. We are Kane-Dressé. We may face situations that are dangerous. Jack Carter reviewed the communications again. He tried to imagine what Lyra and the colony were feeling. They were scared, desperate, and alone. We are coming, he whispered. We will not leave you. The fleet entered the outer system of Varen's Hope. Sensors picked up energy signatures, ships in orbit, explosions on the planet below. The Draxen forces were strong, but the human fleet remained calm, organized, and precise. Each ship took its position, forming a protective ring around the planet. From the horizon dawn, Ryan Clark gave quiet orders. Fighters were deployed to intercept enemy ships. Battleships prepared to fire if needed. Destroyers moved to cover vulnerable areas. Medical ships prepared to land supplies and treat the wounded. It was a careful, coordinated effort, designed to protect the colony with minimal risk. On the planet, Lyra and Talon saw strange lights in the sky. At first, they thought it was more Draxan attacks, but the formation was different. It was precise, organized. They watched as dozens of ships moved in patterns that made no sense to their eyes, yet carried strength and purpose. Talon's eyes widened. "Could it be humans?" he whispered. Lyra held his arm. "It must be. Look at the pattern." "Not attack." Karen watched too. "All of them?" he asked, disbelief in his voice. "They sent all of them?" Lyra nodded. "It seems so. They are not just sending a ship. They are sending a fleet." For the first time in days, hope filled the hearts of the colony. The humans had come, not with a single ship, but with a full armada. They were not just responding to a call, they were showing the true meaning of aid. The Draxan commander, Varuk, saw the same sight from his command ship. He had expected a token response, maybe 1 or 2 human ships. Instead, dozens of massive vessels appeared, forming a line of defense around the colony. He felt a rare flicker of fear. These humans were not weak. They were strong, coordinated, and ready. On the surface, Lyra, Talon, and Karen watched the sky. The humans' fleet hung above like a ring of guardians, shining in the light of the twin suns. It was a sight none of them would forget. Lyra whispered, almost to herself. "We are not alone. Help has arrived." And for the first time in many days, the colony dared to believe that they might survive. Every ship kept its position, forming a protective ring around the planet. From orbit, the colony looked small and fragile, surrounded by fire and smoke from Draxan bombardments. On the bridge of the Horizon Dawn, Captain Ryan Clark studied the display. Red dots marked the Draxan positions, blue dots marked human ships. "We hold here," he said. "Destroyers, take the outer perimeter. Fighters, be ready to intercept any Draxan attacks. Battleships, focus fire on threats to the colony. We protect them at all costs." Commander Olivia Hall checked the targeting systems. "The Draxan will notice us soon. They may try to break through to the planet." Ryan nodded. "Then we show them why humans do not attack lightly." On the surface, Lyra and Talon watched the strange lights in the sky. The humans' ships moved in ways they could barely understand. Some hovered in protective positions. Others moved closer to the Draxan ships. But none attacked the colony. It was clear. They had come to protect, not to conquer. Charon gathered his soldiers. "Look at the sky," he said. "The humans have come. We do not need to fight alone anymore. Stand ready, but do not waste energy. Help is here." Talon stared at the sky. "I cannot believe it. A whole fleet. For us?" Lyra nodded. "They do not know us. They are not here for fame or profit. They are here because we called. That is what makes them human." Far above, the Draxan commander, Varuk, tightened his grip on his console. He had expected a token human response. 1 ship, maybe 2. Instead, dozens of vessels moved into formation, their presence strong and organized. He barked orders. "Intercept them, crush them before they reach the planet." The Draxan ships surged forward. Their black hulls gleamed as weapons systems locked on. But the human fleet was ready. Fighters launched from the carriers, weaving in and out of the enemy's path. Destroyers moved quickly to intercept incoming fire. Battleships prepared to deliver powerful, precise shots at the Draxan line. Ryan Clark gave orders in a calm, steady voice. "Fighters, engage. Destroyers, Cover the colony. Battleships, hold fire until I give the command. We take no unnecessary risks. The first shots rang out. Draxan lasers cut across space toward the colony, but human destroyers intercepted them with shields and countermeasures. The explosions lit the darkness like sparks from a forge. Fighters darted between larger ships, striking at weak points and then retreating. On the ground, Lyra and Talon watched the display screens. "They are amazing," Talon whispered. "I have never seen such precision." Lyra nodded, her hands gripping the console. "This is more than skill. It is coordination, discipline, and determination. Humans do not fight for themselves alone. They fight for others." Karen studied the sensors. The Draxan are strong, but they are losing their advantage. The humans are forcing them back. The Draxan tried a new tactic, sending a wave of smaller attack ships around the human perimeter to strike at the colony. Ryan saw the movement instantly. Fighters, intercept the flank. Battleships, support with concentrated fire. Destroyers, cover the colony. The space around the planet became a ballet of ships and weapons. Humans moved with calm precision. Each ship knew its role. Missiles were fired, lasers shot, and enemy ships disabled with careful accuracy. No civilians on the planet below were harmed by the human attacks. Every move was calculated to protect the colony. On the planet, Lyra felt hope rising. "They are not just helping, they are saving us," she said. Children in nearby shelters clutched each other, watching the flashes in the sky. Soldiers cheered quietly, seeing the tide of battle turn. Varuk could not believe it. His Draxan forces had faced many enemies, but none like this. The humans did not fight recklessly. They did not panic. They struck with force only when necessary and withdrew when it protected their allies. He barked orders again, but his pilots hesitated. Their attacks were countered at every turn. Meanwhile, human medical ships moved closer to the planet. Dr. Laura King coordinated with Lyra over the communications link. "We are preparing to land supplies and personnel," she said. "Keep your wounded alive until we can reach them." Lyra's voice trembled with relief. "We have many injured. Thank you. Thank you for coming." Ryan Clark observed the battlefield from orbit. The Draxan were retreating, their ships disabled or in disarray. He knew it was only the beginning, but the colony was safe for now. "Maintain formation," he ordered. "Do not let them regroup." Talon looked at the display. "The humans are incredible. I thought they would send one ship, maybe a small patrol. But this is a fleet." Lyra smiled faintly. "That is how humans fight when they choose to help. They give everything they have, not half measures." On the ground, Karen addressed his soldiers. "The humans are here. Stand ready to defend yourselves, but do not act unless needed. They are the shield we asked for, and they will hold it." The battle continued for hours. Draxan ships tried to break the human formation, but each attempt was met with calm, precise resistance. Human pilots worked together seamlessly, anticipating each move. Battleships delivered calculated strikes that disabled enemy engines without destroying entire vessels. Destroyers formed protective screens around the colony, absorbing hits that would have fallen on buildings and civilians. Lyra watched, amazed. She had never imagined such coordination. Every shot, every movement, every decision was made with care and purpose. These were humans, yes. But they were more than just soldiers or engineers, they were guardians. Talon whispered, "I never thought anyone would answer our call like this. Not even in my dreams." Lyra nodded. "They are teaching us something. About hope, and about strength, and about mercy." In the midst of the chaos, Dr. Laura King's medical teams landed near the main colony center. They began triage immediately, working alongside Lyra and her staff. Together, They moved through the wounded, providing care, supplies, and comfort. The children and adults, who had been terrified just hours before, now had a chance to survive. Varuk, watching the battle from his command ship, realized his mistake. He had underestimated the humans. Their fleet was not just a response, it was a statement. He called a halt to the attacks, signaling surrender. His ships had been disabled or scattered. He had no choice. On the planet, Karen and Lyra received the signal. Relief and disbelief filled the room. Lyra nodded. The humans did not just come to fight. They came to protect us. And it worked. As the Draxan ships powered down, the human fleet adjusted its formation. Fighters returned to carriers. Battleships held position. Destroyers maintained a protective screen around the planet. Medical ships began shuttling supplies and personnel to the surface. Ryan Clark contacted the colony. The Draxan have surrendered. We will assist with recovery. Remain where you are. Help is on the way. Lyra felt tears in her eyes. We are not alone anymore, she said. Talon nodded silently, overwhelmed with gratitude. Karen addressed the remaining soldiers. The humans did not just save our lives, they saved our hope. They have shown us what it means to be strong and compassionate at the same time. On the human ships, crew members worked quietly. They had won this engagement without unnecessary destruction. They had protected civilians, restrained their weapons, and shown mercy to surrendered enemies. It was not just a battle. It was a lesson in what humans could do when they chose to help. Dr. Laura King and Lyra moved through the triage area, tending to the wounded. Children clung to their parents, staring at the strange humans who had arrived like angels from the stars. Lyra smiled at them. You are safe now, she said. They will not let anything happen to you. Jack Carter watched from the horizon dawn. He had never seen a battle like this before. The Draxan were strong, but the humans' precision and care had turned the tide. He thought of the colony, of the children, and the soldiers, and felt pride. This was why they had come. This was why they had answered the call. Karen approached Lyra. They did more than save us, he said. They have changed the way I see the galaxy. Humans, they are unlike any power I have known. Lyra nodded. They fight, yes, but they also protect. They do not destroy what can be saved. That is their strength. As night fell on Varen's Hope, the humans continued to hold orbit, providing support and security. The fires on the surface began to die down. The wounded received care. The survivors began to emerge from hiding, seeing a fleet above them that had come not for conquest, but for protection. For the first time in weeks, the colony dared to believe that they might survive. And the humans, far from their own world, had shown that when someone calls for help, they do not send a token effort. They come with everything they have. Lyra looked up at the sky, at the human ships that shone like stars above the planet. She whispered to herself, This is hope. And in that moment, she knew that the galaxy had seen something new, something powerful, something that could change everything. The humans were not just soldiers, not just travelers. They were a force of hope.